I stood under the streetlight, soaked to the bone. My hand clenched the small velvet box inside my pocket. The ring felt heavier than it ever had before. "Clara," I said quietly, "tell me you're joking." She didn't meet my eyes. Her hair was plastered to her face, raindrops running down like tears she refused to shed. "I can't do this anymore, Jake. I'm tired. Tired." My voice cracked. "Tired of what? Of me?" She took a step back. "Of struggling? Of watching you work day and night for dreams that never pay the rent?" I laughed bitterly. "So you're leaving for money?" "No, for stability." Her voice shook. "For peace." I looked past her, the black car parked at the curb, its headlights slicing through the rain. Inside, a man waited, polished, calm, everything I wasn't. "Who is he?" I asked. She hesitated, then turned toward the car. "Someone who can give me the life I deserve." The ring box slipped from my hand. It hit the wet ground with a dull thud. "You once said I was enough," I whispered. Her lip trembled. "You were," until reality caught up. She reached for the car door, but I caught her wrist. Her skin was cold. "So this is it?" She looked back at me for the first time. Her eyes were full of something I couldn't name. Regret? Pity? Maybe both. "I wish you the best, Jake," she said softly. "You're a good man," I wanted to shout, to beg, to ask her to stay. But my voice wouldn't come out. Instead, I let go. The car door opened. A man in a tailored suit leaned slightly toward her. His face was calm, unreadable. She slipped inside. The door shut with a sound that felt final. The car rolled forward, red taillights fading into the rain. For a long time, I just stood there. The street was empty except for the sound of my heart breaking. I knelt, picked up the ring box and opened it. The diamond glinted under the streetlight, small, imperfect, but full of everything I had. Now it meant nothing. I put it back in my pocket and looked up at the sky. "Fine," I muttered. "If she wants a better life, I'll build one. Not to win her back. To make her wish she'd stayed." My phone buzzed on the nightstand. I barely opened my eyes. "Hello!" "Jake, it's Martin from the office," my coworker's voice said, too cheerful for 8 a.m. big news. "We got a new investor." I rubbed my temples. "Yeah, so you'll want to hear this. His name's Mr. Grant. He's visiting today to meet the team." The name punched through my chest like ice water. "Mr. Grant?" I repeated. "Yeah, he's some millionaire from uptown. Heard he's got a young fiancé too." The line went quiet on my end outside. Rain began again, gentle but relentless. I stared at the ceiling, feeling the world tilt beneath. Me? Mr. Grant. I'd seen him before. He was the man waiting in that car. Asterisk, the first thing I noticed was the silence. The kind that follows power when it walks into a room. Every head in the office turned toward the door. My boss was already smiling, nervous and eager. I stayed seated, my pen frozen above the sketch I'd been pretending to finish. Everyone. "Meet our new investor," my boss said. "Mr. Grant." The man stepped forward in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my car. His presence filled the room before he spoke. And then she appeared beside him. Clara, her hand rested lightly on his arm, her smile practiced but fragile. My chest tightened. I forced my jaw to relax. "Welcome, Mr. Grant." His eyes met mine. Sharp, calculated. "You must be Jake, the architect who's been making quite the impression here." I nodded. "Trying my best, sir." He smiled without warmth. "Good. I like people who try. But trying isn't always enough." The words hit harder than they should have. Clara's gaze flickered to me, then away. My boss gestured toward the presentation table. "Jake will be leading our new residential design portfolio. Maybe you can look at his latest concept." Mr. Grant leaned over the table, studying my blueprints. "Interesting lines. Ambitious." He glanced at Clara. "What do you think, darling?" "Darling." The words scraped against my nerves. Clara hesitated. "It's beautiful." Jake always had a good eye for detail. I felt everyone's eyes shift between us. My pulse quickened. Thank you, Ms. Reed, I said coolly. I'm glad my work still impresses you. Her smile faltered. It does. Mr. Grant straightened. You two know each other? The question hung in the air like smoke. Before she could answer, I said, she was my project partner a while back. In school. He studied me, then her. Something dark passed through his eyes. Small world. He turned to my boss. I'll be reviewing your team closely. I like to understand who I'm investing in. Then, back to me. Jake, you'll be reporting directly to me for a new personal project. I kept my voice even. Of course. What kind of project? He smiled, slow and deliberate. A home. For Clara and me. The room tilted for a second. My throat tightened, but I forced a nod. An honor, sir? Clara's expression shifted just for a heartbeat. Sadness? Guilt? I couldn't tell. After the meeting, everyone swarmed around him, laughing, praising. I stayed back, packing my notes with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. She lingered near the doorway. Our eyes met. For a moment it was just us again. The silence.
The rain.
The promises we never kept. I walked past her, but she caught my sleeve. Jake, I didn't know he was coming here. I swear. I looked at her hand, then at her. You don't have to explain. You made your choice. Her voice broke. You think I wanted this? Does it matter? I said quietly. You got what you wanted. A rich life. She pulled back, her eyes glossy. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is. Before she could answer, Mr. Grant appeared beside her. Everything all right, Clara? She straightened instantly. Yes, of course. He smiled at me again. Good work today, Jake. Expect my call tomorrow. I want you to start designing something timeless. Something that represents us. Placed his hand on her back and led her away. I watched them leave. Their reflections stretching across the glass walls. The man who took everything, and now he wanted me to build the symbol of it. The scratching of my pencil filled the empty office. Blueprints covered my desk like battlefield maps. Each line, each curve, carried the weight of a name I didn't want to say, Clara. Every time I tried to forget her, her voice echoed in my mind. Every wall I designed for their mansion felt like another brick around my chest. The door clicked open behind me. Working late again, she said softly. I didn't look up. You shouldn't be here. Told Grant I was coming to check the designs. I traced another line, ignoring the sound of her heels crossing the floor. You've changed, she said. You don't even look at me anymore. I set the pencil down and finally turned. Why would I? You're someone else's fiancé? She flinched. That's not fair. I stood, keeping the desk between us. Fair? You left without a word? You didn't even give me a chance to fight for us. Her eyes glistened. I had my reasons. Money, I said coldly. That's not a reason. That's an excuse. She stepped closer. The air between us tightened. You think I don't regret it every day? I wanted to believe her. But then I remembered that car, the diamond ring. The way she said goodbye like love was something disposable. Don't, I said quietly. Don't make me pity you. She crossed her arms, holding herself like she was cold. I didn't come for pity. I came to help. I gestured to the blueprints. You want to help? Tell me how big your master bedroom should be. Tell me what color the pool tiles need to be. That's what I'm paid for now. Her voice broke. Is this how it's going to be? You punishing me with professionalism? I stared at her, my anger trembling beneath the surface. You don't get to play the victim, Clara. Silence. Only the hum of the city outside the windows. Finally, she whispered, I missed you. My chest tightened. Don't say that. I did. She looked down at the blueprints. You're still the only person who sees me for who I am. I stepped closer before I realized it. Her perfume, the same one she wore the night she left, hit me like a memory. You made sure I couldn't, I said. You built walls higher than this mansion. Her hand brushed one of the papers. These designs, they feel sad because they're honest. She looked up, eyes searching mine. Do you still hate me? I couldn't answer. I wanted to. I wanted to say yes, to bury every feeling under pride. But her voice cracked on the word hate, and it shattered something inside me. She took another step forward. The space between us disappeared. "I don't hate you," I said finally. "I wish I did. It would make everything easier." Her breath caught. "Jake." I turned away, grabbing the blueprints, just to keep my hands from shaking. "You should go before he starts wondering where you are." Her reflection hovered in the window's glass. "You don't know what he's really like." That made me stop. I turned. "What does that mean?" She met my eyes, voice trembling. "He's not who you think he is. And if you keep working for him, you'll find out the hard way." Before I could speak, she was gone. The door closed behind her, leaving only the echo of her warning and the sound of my own heartbeat. I looked at the blueprints spread across the desk. The mansion I was building for her looked perfect on paper, but every line was cracked, just like us. Asterisk, I didn't notice the time until her reflection appeared in the glass wall behind me. "Working late again," Clara said quietly. "Just like before." Set my pen down. "You shouldn't be here." Her voice was low, almost trembling. "You think I came to talk about blueprints?" I turned in my chair. The office lights were dim, only the desk lamp between us. "Then what did you come for?" She hesitated, biting her lip. "He isn't who you think he is, Jake." I leaned back, folding my arms. "You've said that before. Start explaining." Her eyes darted to the door as if expecting someone to walk in. "He's not just controlling. He tracks my phone, checks my messages, tells me what to wear, what to say." I felt my chest tighten. "Then why stay?" "Because leaving him isn't that simple." "Oh. You made leaving me look pretty simple," I said before I could stop myself. She winced. "I know, and I hate myself for it." Her voice cracked on the last word. Something inside me shifted. I wanted to stay angry, but the fear in her eyes buried my resentment. "Does he hurt you?" I asked quietly. Her silence said enough. I stood walking closer until we were only a few feet apart. "You don't deserve that." She laughed softly, bitterly. "What do I deserve, Jake? I traded love for comfort. Now I have neither." "Then leave him." She shook her head. "He would ruin you if I did. You don't understand what he's capable of." The lights flickered, and she took a shaky breath. "Promise me you won't tell him we talked." "I don't make promises I can't keep." "You'll keep this one," she whispered. "Please." Before I could answer, the door swung open. Mr. Grant stepped inside, his voice smooth but sharp. "Clara, you didn't mention you'd be visiting this late." She froze. "I was just checking the design progress." He glanced at me, smiling like a man who already knew the truth. "You've been working closely with my fiancé Haven Tiu, Jake." I forced a polite tone. "Strictly professional, sir." "Good," he said. "Let's keep it that way." He moved toward her, placing a hand on her back. "Too firm? Too possessive?" "We should go, darling," he said. "It's getting late." Her eyes met mine for a second, a silent plea behind them. Then she nodded. Of course, they left together, his hand never leaving her. The door clicked shut. For a moment, the room felt empty in a way I couldn't explain. I picked up my wine glass from earlier, took a sip, and felt it tremble in my hand. The anger, the helplessness, the guilt of it pressed against my ribs until the glass slipped. It shattered on the floor. I sank into my chair and stared at the mess. That was what we were now. Fragments pretending to be whole, hours later. When the office was dark and the city outside glowed faintly through the windows, my phone buzzed. A message from Clara. "Please, don't tell him what I said." I stared at it for a long time. Then, just as I started to reply, another text appeared from an unknown number. "Stay away from her, or you'll regret it." My throat went dry. The message deleted itself. Before I could screenshot it, and in the reflection of the dark glass, I thought I saw movement behind me. The night my files vanished from the company drive, I knew it wasn't an accident. My screen blinked red with corrupted symbols, the project I had spent months on gone in seconds. The office was quiet except for the hum of the air conditioner. "Backup's missing too," Ryan said over the phone. "Someone deleted it manually." I ended the call and looked at the dark glass wall. My reflection looked back, tired and uncertain. Then I noticed something else. Movement. A shadow slipped past the window. My chest tightened. By the next morning, both tires on my car were slashed. A message scratched into the paint. Stay out of her life. That night, I sat in my apartment. Lights off, blinds half closed. The city glowed through the gaps, like fractured glass. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. You didn't listen. I grabbed my jacket and checked the lock twice. That's when I heard it. A knock. Who is it? Silence. Then a shaky whisper. It's me. I opened the door and froze. Clara stood there, hair wet from rain, her cheeks swollen, lips split. Clara, what happened? He knows, she said. He found the messages. I pulled her inside and shut the door. Did he do this? She didn't answer, just wrapped her arms around herself, trembling. I guided her to the couch. Sit down. You're safe here. No one's safe, she whispered. Not around him. Her hands were shaking as she held the mug I gave her. Steam curled up into the dim light. He smashed my phone. Said I embarrassed him. Why come to me? I asked, because I didn't know where else to go. I sat beside her, careful not to touch her. You can't go back, Clara. I have nowhere else. You have me? I said before thinking. Her eyes lifted. Do I? The room went quiet. I could hear the rain against the window, slow and heavy. You shouldn't have gotten involved again, she said softly. He won't stop now. Let him come, I said. I'm done running from men like him. She shook her head. You don't understand what he's capable of. I'm not afraid. She looked at me, eyes full of tears. You should be. The light from the street shifted across her face, cutting through the room like a warning. I took a breath. You're staying here tonight? End of discussion. She tried to protest, but I didn't let her. I'll sleep on the couch. You take the bed, Jake. Her voice broke. If he finds out I'm here, he already has. Her eyes widened. What do you mean? I glanced at the door. A shadow moved behind the frosted glass. Stay here, I whispered. I walked toward it slowly, heart pounding. The doorknob rattled once. Jake, Clara whispered behind me. Don't open it. I gripped the handle and pulled it open. 2 men in black suits stood there. Their eyes were cold, their smiles rehearsed. One of them held an envelope. Mr. Grant sends his regards, he said. The other man's gaze flicked over my shoulder toward Clara. Tell her, he said. Voice low, this is her only warning. The door closed before I could reply. Inside, Clara's mug had fallen to the floor, coffee spilling across the carpet. Her hands were trembling again. But this time, so were mine. Asterisk rain hit my face like shards of glass as we ran. Clara's hand gripped mine, her heels splashing through puddles, her breath short and uneven. Keep going, I said. Don't stop. Behind us, headlights cut through the storm. My pulse hammered with every step. We turned a corner and ducked under a half-lit motel sign. The neon buzzed weakly, bleeding red light onto the wet pavement. I yanked open the door and we stumbled inside. The room smelled like dust and damp wood. I locked the door twice, then turned to her. She was shaking. Her hair clung to her face, her blouse torn. He sent them again, didn't he? I asked. She nodded, voice breaking. He said if I ever ran, he'd make you disappear first. I clenched my fists. He's not touching me. Or you. She looked up at me, eyes red and tired. You shouldn't have come for me, Jake. You should have stayed out of it. I tried, I said, but I couldn't watch him destroy you. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The rain outside softened into a rhythm against the window. I found an old towel and handed it to her. She took it, her fingers brushing mine. Warm, trembling. I thought money would fix everything, she said quietly. I told myself love couldn't pay bills, that comfort was better than chaos. But it was all a lie. Every day with him feels like I'm suffocating. Her voice cracked and I saw the girl I used to know. The one who laughed with her whole heart. The one I lost. I wanted to pull her close, tell her it was okay. But something inside me hesitated. Instead, I asked, "Why now? Why come to me?" "Because you were the only one who ever saw me," she whispered. My chest ached. I turned away, pretending to fix the broken blinds. "You should rest. We'll figure out where to go in the morning." She nodded and sank onto the bed. Her reflection in the cracked mirror looked ghostly under the red neon glow. I started gathering her wet clothes into a pile. That's when I noticed it, a faint buzz coming from her bag. "Clara," I said slowly, "is your phone still on?" She looked up, startled. "No, I threw it away days ago." I opened the bag and froze. A second phone sat inside, its screen lit, location sharing active. The map showed a blinking red dot, our exact coordinates. My stomach turned cold. "What is this?" Her face went pale. "I swear I don't know." "He must have hidden it? Hidden it? In your bag?" "I didn't know, Jake. Please." I stepped back, heart racing. "Were you ever planning to run, or were you just leading me to him?" Tears filled her eyes. "You really think I'd do that?" "I don't know what to think anymore," I said. "Every time I try to believe you, I find another lie."
No.
She stood, voice shaking. "You're the only person I have left. If you stop believing me, then I have nothing." The phone on the bed buzzed again. A new message flashed on the screen. "Stay where you are. I'm coming." The sound of thunder swallowed her gasp. I turned off the light. The room fell into darkness, except for the soft red pulse of the motel sign through the curtain. And in that glow, I couldn't tell if the woman standing in front of me was the love I lost, or the trap waiting to destroy me. Her voice cracked as she stood by the motel window, rain streaking down the glass. "I was supposed to bring you here," she said. "Grant made me. He said if I didn't, he'd destroy you." I stared at her. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. So this was all part of his plan. She turned toward me, tears cutting through the dirt on her face. "It started that way, but I swear, Jake, it changed. When I saw you again, when you touched my hand, I remembered everything we used to be." I took a step closer. "You think that makes it better?" "You led me right into his hands." "I didn't have a choice," she said, shaking. "He's been tracking you for weeks. He wants you gone because you know something." I frowned. "Know what?" She hesitated, biting her lip. "Something about the mansion project. Money he moved under your name." My chest tightened. "What are you talking about?" "You're being framed," she whispered. "The fake accounts, the transfers, they're all in your name. He told me to keep you distracted while he finished it." I felt the floor tilt beneath me. I backed away, gripping the table for balance. "You should have told me sooner." "Ah!" "I couldn't," she cried. "He listens to my calls, my messages. I didn't know how." I turned toward my laptop, but before I could move, the power flickered. The screen glowed for a second, then went black. "What did you do?" I asked. "Nothing, I swear." The silence stretched until the sound of sirens cut through the storm outside. My stomach dropped. Blue and red lights flashed through the window. A knock. Then another, harder this time. "Police. Open up." Clara's hands flew to her mouth. "Jake, they think you stole the money." I ran to the door, but before I could speak, it burst open. Officers flooded the room, shouting orders. "Hands where we can see them." Clara screamed as two of them grabbed me, twisting my arms behind my back. The cold steel of the cuffs bit into my skin. "There's been a mistake," I shouted. "I didn't take anything." The officer read me my rights, voice mechanical and calm. I looked over my shoulder at Clara. She was crying, reaching toward me as one of them pulled her back. "Tell them the truth," I yelled. "Tell them what he did." But her voice cracked into nothing. Mr. Grant stepped into the doorway, dry under a black umbrella. His expression was calm, smug. "I warned you not to get involved, Jake," he said. "Now you'll have time to think about your choices." I wanted to lunge at him to break free, but the officers dragged me out into the rain. Clara screamed again. "Please stop." "He's innocent." Grant's voice cut through her cries, cold and sharp. "You've done enough, Clara." The world blurred around me, flashing lights, shouting. The taste of rain and metal, they pushed me into the back of the police car. The door slammed shut. Through the glass, I saw her collapse to her knees. Hours later, in a cell that smelled of rust and concrete, I sat in silence. The cuffs were gone, but the weight remained. A guard approached and slid a sealed envelope through the bars. "No name," he said. "Just for you." I tore it open with shaking hands. Inside, a single note. "This is your chance for revenge." My pulse slowed. For the first time that night, I didn't feel fear. I felt purpose. Asterisk, the cell was silent except for the hum of the lights. I sat on the edge of the metal bunk, the envelope still in my hands. My fingers trembled as I pulled out the papers. The first few pages looked like financial reports, transfers, invoices, offshore accounts. Every document had my name on it, but the signatures were different. Perfect forgeries. Then, at the bottom of the stack, a single sheet marked confidential. It listed a name I didn't recognize, Richard Granton. My chest tightened as I read the next line, alias, Robert Grant. I whispered it out loud. He isn't even who he says he is. I flipped through the rest. Criminal records, old mugshots, newspaper clippings, fraud, embezzlement, identity theft. Every city he lived in had a different name. A different woman by his side. One photo caught my eye. Grant standing beside a woman in a white dress. Her smile was unmistakable. Clara? I froze. The date at the bottom said it all. Marriage license Richard, Granton and Clara Hayes. Signed 8 months before she left me. My hands went numb, so she wasn't just his fiancée. She was already his wife. I could barely breathe. The rain outside hit the small window in rhythmic bursts, like the world was mocking me. The guard appeared again. "You've got a visitor." I looked up. "Who?" "Lawyer. Says he's here to get you out." Minutes later, I was walking through the metal door, the envelope hidden inside my jacket. My mind was spinning. Who sent it? Why help me now? Outside, the air hit cold and sharp. The world felt too quiet after hours behind bars. And then I saw her. Clara stood by the gate, wrapped in a long coat, eyes swollen and red. Her hands clutched a small purse. She was holding on to the last thing keeping her together. "Jake," she whispered. I didn't move. I just stared at her. "Why are you here?" "I had to make sure you got out." I laughed once, bitter. "Why, so you can report back to your husband?" Her lips trembled. "You found out? Found out that you married him before you left me?" "Yeah, I did." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "It wasn't what you think. He forced me. My father owed him money. I had to sign or stop." My voice cracked. "Every lie you told had a reason, didn't it? You were always the victim." She stepped closer. "I never stopped loving you," shook my head. "You don't get to say that." Her hand reached for mine. "Please, just listen." The streetlight above flickered, catching her tears, her shaking lips. "I can help you bring him down," she said. "I know where he hides everything. His accounts, his partners. I can prove you're innocent." I stared at her, torn between rage and the ache that never really left. "You expect me to trust you after all of this?" Her eyes held mine. "No, I expect you to let me try." For a moment, all I could hear was the wind and the faint sound of cars passing by. The envelope felt heavy in my pocket, the proof burning against my chest. I looked at her and said quietly, "If you're lying again, Clara, I'll make sure you regret it." Her voice broke into a whisper. "Then let me earn the truth back." The headlights of a black car flashed at the end of the street. She turned toward it, fear flashing in her eyes. "Jake," she said, trembling. "He knows you're out." The sound of her voice shook as she confessed everything. We sat in my apartment, blinds closed, papers scattered across the floor. The city lights outside flickered through the rain, painting her face in fractured gold. "He made me marry him," Clara said quietly. "He said if I didn't, he'd ruin my family. My father's debt, my mother's treatment, he controlled it all. I tried to run once, but he found me." I stared at her, And you still lied to me? She nodded. Because I thought I could protect you if you hated me. But I was wrong. I wanted to stay angry, to hold on to the betrayal-like armor. But she looked so fragile sitting there, her hands shaking as she pushed a flash drive toward me. What's this? I asked. Proof, she said. Every account, every illegal transfer, every fake identity. Everything he did to you and to dozens of others. I hesitated, then plugged it into my laptop. Files flooded the screen. Offshore accounts, property deeds, blackmail records. His empire laid bare. My chest tightened. This is enough to destroy him. She nodded. And it's all yours. I turned to her. Why give this to me? Because you deserve your life back, she said. Even if I don't deserve you. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The rain softened, leaving only the sound of our breathing. When I finally looked at her, she was crying silently. I loved you, she whispered. Every second of it was real. Something inside me cracked. I reached out and took her hand. Then help me finish this. The next morning, I walked into the press building with Clara beside me. Reporters swarmed as we stepped into the bright lights. I faced the cameras, holding up the folder of evidence. My name is Jake Porter, I said. And I've been framed by Robert Grant, the man who's been stealing from every company he's ever touched. Flashes exploded like lightning. Voices shouted questions. Behind me, Clara stood still, her head bowed, tears slipping down her cheeks. That night, the headlines spread everywhere. Business tycoon exposed. Grant's empire collapses. Anonymous whistleblower reveals massive fraud. The next day, the police raided his properties. His name was stripped from every building, every article of power he owned. Justice. Finally, but it didn't feel like victory. Clara sat on the edge of the bed, hands clasped, staring out the window. You did it, she said softly. We did it, I corrected. She smiled faintly, then looked away. You know, this doesn't fix us, right? I know. She turned toward me, her eyes full of sadness. Then what happens now? I took a slow breath. You start over. Away from him. Away from this city. As for me, I'll try to remember how to breathe again. Oh. Her lips parted, but no words came. Only a tear that slid down her cheek. When she finally stood, she whispered, Goodbye, Jake. Her fingers brushed mine one last time, warm. Trembling before she walked out, the silence that followed felt heavier than any cell I'd ever been in. Later that night, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I opened the message. You took everything from me. Now it's your turn. Sender. R. Grant. I looked out the window and across the street. A black car idled under the streetlight. The engine never turned off. Asterisk, the office lights flickered as rain pounded against the windows. I was straightening the papers on my desk when the glass door slammed open. Robert Grant stood there, his eyes cold, a gun in his hand. His suit was soaked, rain dripping onto the floor. Jake Porter, he said, voice low and dangerous. You ruined me. And now, you'll pay. Clara gasped behind me. Jake, get down. I felt my heart hammering. My chest tightened. Every instinct screamed to protect her, to take control. Grant advanced, gun raised. Step aside, Clara. This doesn't concern you. It concerns me, she said, voice shaking. You won't touch him. I moved between them. You're finished, Grant. It's over. He laughed, sharp and bitter. Over? Not yet. Not until you're gone. Suddenly, his foot slipped on the wet tile. Time slowed. His arms flailed. The gun discharged. The sound echoed like thunder. He collapsed, blood spreading across the floor, the life leaving his eyes. Clara screamed, rushing to my side. Jake grabbed her, pulling her back from the body. She was trembling, tears streaming down her cheeks, soaked through her coat. Are you okay? I asked softly, cupping her face. She shook her head. I don't know. I didn't mean for this. I never wanted. Her words broke off. I could feel her guilt, her fear, her relief, all at once. I held her hands. It's not your fault. It's over. You're safe now. Her shoulders sagged. She leaned closer, whispering, "Can you ever forgive me?" I turned my gaze to the rain-streaked windows. My reflection stared back, calm and resolute. "I already did," I said quietly. "The moment I stopped loving you." Her lips trembled. She didn't answer. Instead, she stepped back, wiped her tears, and walked toward the door. The rain poured harder outside, slashing against the glass like it was washing away the past. She disappeared into the night, the same streets where everything began. I watched her go, my chest heavy but strangely light. The echoes of betrayal, fear, and heartbreak had finally faded. Police sirens wailed in the distance, approaching. I didn't move. I let the rain cleanse the building, the office, the life we had both been tangled in. I stepped outside, boots hitting puddles, water soaking through my coat. The city was awake, but everything felt still. For the first time, I could breathe. For the first time, I felt free. I looked at the sunrise breaking through the clouds, light spilling across wet streets. Clara was gone, but peace remained. The wind carried the memory of everything we had endured. Betrayal, love, anger, forgiveness. I smiled faintly, letting it go. She left me for a rich life, but karma made her return to beg for what I no longer had to give.